Okay, welcome to episode two. Episode two. This one, we're just going to look at some book reviews. That's all we're going to do. Is this backwards? Because it looks backwards to me. That's going to be really annoying. It's going to be extra annoying for this episode. We'll have to think about how I do that. I'll have a look at it later, and if it is, I have no idea. I'm not that tech savvy. But what we're going to do is going to look at a ton of books for the bibliography. I haven't written the bibliography, so this is your written bibliography, if you like. And I recognise that at this particular time it's even harder because you're not able to get into St. Augustine, so I recognise that's harder. And I think a lot of stuff you may need to be looking online, particularly play with JSTOR, get yourself registered there. And there's a lot of stuff you can get for free. Don't pay money. Do your best to not pay money with JSTOR and see how far you can get with some of that stuff. Diarmaid MacCulloch, you really should already have one of these. If you're doing a 604, I expect you to be this clever to already have one of these, even if you haven't read it. And okay, vast majority of this is not relevant to this course because it's only the 20th century that we're looking at. I do recommend the Kindle version because it's quite easy to search in that session. Although because we are really looking at these last bits, maybe maybe that's all you need. It's just that last section. Already made reference to this, and again, Reformation of the present day. I didn't bother reading any of that. I just went straight to the present day section, and there's some sort of interesting perspectives that he brings out there. This is your good general book. This is your Miranda Threlfall Holmes, The Essential History of Christianity. Yeah, everyone should have one of these, really. No excuses. You should all have one of these, but it's a general book that covers the entire. So the 20th century is going to be the last 2 to 3 pages. So again, I accept that you might not get much of a quote out of that. Nearly Infallible History of Christianity, very funny. Do be careful with it. And again, a bit thin. But what I'm showing you at the moment is basic books that are quite easy to get hold of, that you might be able to get hold of, rather than quite difficult ones where they're going to cost quite a lot of money. This is a book that's going to cost you quite a lot of money. This is Christianity in the 20th Century. Christianity in the 20th Century by Brian Stanley. And this is the main book. This is the book that everything in the lecture courses based on the chapter headings are based on these chapter headings. It is that badly, well, plagiarized isn't even the word, really. Summarized would be a better word. So we are predominantly using this. And that's why if you come across a page number in my lecture notes and it's got for Diarmaid MacCulloch or GZ for Gonzalez, if it doesn't have that written next to it, you can make a sense that this is the default understanding. This is what this is trying to get at. So it's about this book. So this is the book's worth getting. It's so good I bought it in hardback because I don't think you can get it in softback, and then I bought it in Kindle so as to help my reading of it. And I've read it a couple of times. I just think it's brilliant, and that's kind of why I base the whole course around it. And so I really do commend this to you. There you go, big plug for that book. Mark Knowles' Turning Points. This is a really, really good book, but particularly towards the end, he's got some good stuff here on the Second World War that I particularly remember, and very interesting stuff on Bibles and their percentages of translations and how that's spread through the world. He has a strong view about our scriptures as being a turning point in history. Not so much as in terms of that you and I would say the Gutenberg press, not so much in terms of that, but in terms of the 20th century explosion of translations. And how so many people now have the scriptures in their own language and the implications of that. And we'll look at the implications of that a little later on. Bruce Shelley's which is on Church History in Plain Language. This is just brilliant. It's my favorite book. History course. Little on the evangelical side, little American, but generally quite balanced, quite fair. And just really good, very readable. This is your beach book of church history, like that as a phrase. probably a Nick Page's. People ask me about dates and times, and so that's why I sometimes recommend this book. This is Christian History: The Compact Guide to Christian History by Stephen Backhouse. It just, I don't really think it's much good for this course, but it's the first time we've done this course, so I don't know. That's why I'm overdoing the book reviews. It does like a short chapter per century, but what it is good at is at helping you to go, oh, so that's where that fits, that's where that fits. So it is quite good in that regard. Henry Bettinson's Documents of the Christian Church. Brilliant. I mean, yes, okay, so it's everything, right from Pliny and Trajan's discussion about slaves in 102, 112. So it's got everything, but you remember in your essays you do get more points for original source quotes and original source material, and so that's why having a bit of Bettinson is a good thing. There's lots of others and variations on that. Yeah, I wasn't going to wave at you. There's Alistair McGrath's. He's got various readers that he's got, and so I commend those to you. But if you end up doing something that is particularly the persecution one, for example, you could probably get this nicely into and do something focused on the confessing church. Using a bit of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Cost of Discipleship. I'm not especially recommending this translation, this version. I'm just saying that will be useful for when you get to it. It was Moira Aston, I think, who put me onto this one. This is How the Churches Got to Be the Way They Are by Gavin White. It's a little on the old side, so on the plus side, it should be quite cheap, courtesy of some secondhand shop. So that's good, but you can see that what it's covering is the run up to it in terms of the 18th century, the Gothic revival, through to fundamentalism, the Soviet Union, and those sort of issues. It has a pessimistic view, in my view, of the church, but Moira may well have a different attitude because she's probably read more of it than I have. I've only sort of dipped into it. Well, you were going to get a recommendation of some sort of, Anglican type book, weren't you? Stephen Sykes' Unashamed Anglicanism. There's probably loads more since then. This is just a book that I got when I got ordained. So, there's probably others that will help you in the event that part of your essay is particularly Anglican focused. I've been given these books, okay, so I haven't got around to having a proper look at. This is The Death of Christian Britain by Callum G. Brown. The Death of Christian Britain by Callum G. Brown. Well, it kind of says it in the title, so that saves me from ad-libbing too much. But I think one of the elements of what it's looking at is it is relevant for the secularism that we will explore at some point. My reader lent me this because she found it helpful for her essay. I'll just leave it at that. I think I'll just leave it at that. That starts in the wrong part, really, but it does get onto the right part of what we're talking about eventually. And you can't go wrong with these SCM cool books. Modern Church History, courtesy of Tim Grass. Modern Church History. But I will show you two more books that I have found useful, and then I'll stop for this bit. So I was working out what to be looking at. I was typing into Amazon all sorts of different things, and eventually I came across this, The Modern Theologians. And what's good about this, I think it's church history. So we are focusing on church and the history part of the church. So we are focusing on that. But this is a period of some profound and exciting theologians who are standing on the shoulders of giants. And so it might well be relevant as you come to look at your resource and rationale to dip into one or two of these. Now this one's quite cheap. You'll notice it is the second edition. Do be careful with that, because I didn't realize that and bought the third edition. So this is the third edition. It's completely different. It's completely different. In many ways, it's identical in the sense that it covers exactly the same theologians, pretty much exactly the same theologians, but it's completely different in the sense that it is each chapter is written by somebody else completely different, as they explore what Karl Barth has to say and contribute to theology of the 20th century. So, so one or t'other, this one being the cheaper, might well be helpful as part of a bibliography. I'm going to stop there, but I'm hoping that the next one we're going to start the course, and I'm going to give you some thoughts about the beginning of that.